And will you believe what Asta and Mars have to do? Going through the fire, going through everything, purging through that shit just to save Thana, and a pretty goddamn solid conclusion to this whole witch arc right now, and especially going against a tough foe. And I think she definitely riled herself up with, like, you know, Vito after the end of this, because it's just how much she just wouldn't go down. So let's talk about the finale between Mars, Asta versus Thana. So the entirety of this was stopping Thana from, like, blowing herself up, and I liked throughout the entirety of this chapter, from what we saw and all that, it's just like, this time the sure, we're not gonna, like, we're gonna stop you and all that, and, like, immediately as they're going through this and all that, and it's just like, I've got to thrust my sword in there and, you know, dispel that stupid, you know, self-destruction magic, and she literally is bringing the, like, the heat so much that she is setting Asta and Mars on fire, and he's, like, screaming as his flesh is burning. I'm like, oh, that, we are still in Shonen Land, aren't we? We're not just gone into Seinenville, just anything right now. Ooh, ooh. Like, going from there, I'm like, alright, next destination, Asta being a smoldering corpse or anything. But no, that was actually something weird about it, and funny enough, it was like, when we go see, like, all of that, like, he uses his fire healing magic, like, Phoenix Down, and you think of it in your mind, all that. I know it's fire healing magic and he has multiple things, but it's like, how do we fix healing fire, like, burn damage with more fire, like, using the Phoenix shit. But it's like, it was a little fun thing, like, on there, and, like, he also has used it before on there, and the fact that this is what they're trying to go through to even save Thana, and it's just like, the two complimenting, like, each other throughout all of this, like, you know, like, can you keep up, Asta? And he's like, yeah, I can go, and, like, as long as I'm not reduced to cinders, I can go anywhere. And, like, even saying, like, he is the embodiment of what it truly means to be of a genuine knight. Going through that, he's like, he's fought from multiple members, you know, the orders of the, like, of the Clover Kingdom, and he's like, no one has been as zealous of him and to protect and help people. It's like, he's the one that's been able to put himself so forward. And, like, the same thing was said with Asta, though. He was looking at Mars, and it's just like, he's completely done a 180 since he's, like, the last time we saw him. Like, he's actually showing emotion, like, you know, and care and all that. And he's saying, this pain is nothing compared to Thana's suffering after everything. And it's saying, like, and he was saying, like, right now and all that, and a massive, like, hold of his power and all that, he looks invincible. Like, it looks like nothing will be able to ever stop him and all that. And with a will like that, he's finally now broken out of shell. He's no longer, like, just this mindless killing machine and all that. And he's saying, like, even I don't expect someone that was, like, supposed to be this cold and all that. And he's showing, like, such passion and, you know, heat and all that for all of this. And, like, as they pour themselves into Thana, as she's, like, now about to kill himself, like Asta, like, barely pushes in right now and just cuts the entire dragon, like, fire-wise and stuff, like, just at the last bit, and saying, like, no, that isn't even enough. And it wasn't even until Mars was able to just barely break into her, saying, like, you know, after everything, he's saying, you know, that we'll have to meet in the outside world, Thana, like, please and all that, I'm sorry, like, I didn't have the power to fight back, like, you know, all this long, like, time and all that. And from what we saw from, like, all of it and all that, we did get to see, like, the backstory throughout all of that. And, like, clearly when she saw, like, when she was burning and all that, she was, like, clearly saying, you know, like, I will never forgive them. I'll never forget anything about what they've done to us. And, like, you know, we're here outside in the world right now. Let's go see the world together after everything we promised each other. And just, like, with, like, a whole thing, it was like, she barely, like, stands in. It's just like, okay, it's a promise, Mars, after everything. And, like, just see, it was kind of a little bit, like, emotional when you saw, like, Mars, like, just breaking down and crying. It's just like, yes, like, let's finally be together after everything and all that. And it's like, oh, like, you know, that's sweet. Although you see the entire forest at the end of it completely smoldering and burnt to the fucking ground after all this. The question is, though, now that this kind of, like, whole fight is over, one of the big forces is, now that they've got two incredibly strong allies, the fact is Thana and Mars going to return to them, or are they going to try and, like, fix the Diamond Kingdom from the inside? Is that something we're going to be doing? We talked before of whether or not are we going to, is that the next arc, since we've seen a couple of the generals being, like, talked up to and all that, and maybe this way it could potentially go. But if you think about that, like, already from what we saw in the fleets, like, already her, two of her elites are down. Like, Vito was killed, and, like, from Yami, and then this one was through the combined, like, you know, forces and all that of Asta and Mars. So with Thana, and that was they only won for the fact that they were able to, like, break through her because she was so emotionally damaged. And I don't think they can do that with the next guy. And the fact that we're pretty much wrapping up from most of, like, all the people that they have. There's only a few people left in, like, you know, Elite's arsenal that we can honestly see. So I'm wondering and all that, if anything, are we gonna focus mainly on these guys, on the Eye of the Midnight Sun, or if anything, are we gonna like focus on like another group and all that afterwards? Like, I'm kind of curious on like where this could possibly go, like, or whether or not we're gonna have a rebellion inside the kingdom, or either more stuff like, you know, crazy stuff that's gonna be happening and all that. But we're wrapping up this Witch arc and pretty much getting like we're pretty close as well. Like in like 2 months time or so, like we're gonna be reaching like, you know, 100 chapters of the series and all that. And with the announcement of an anime as well, you know, it's like inevitable that we're gonna be hearing news probably sometime in the spring and all that, whether or not where this anime is gonna come out in fall or summer. I don't think I think with the combination what we got in spring right now, it's not going to be anything that. But if anything, what did you guys think about this chapter? I did enjoy it. It had some little emotional moments on there and all that, and it was kind of like, even still, if anything, I kind of wish I saw a little bit more time with Mars and all that before he kind of did his 180, because he's now feels like a completely different character. There's more build up, but then as well, like, unlike this with every like kind of manga at this point, where it's like, well, they have no idea when like these characters and all that are going to get cancelled or not, and now they can finally put some characterization, a little bit more like character building into these characters and all that. But I will say, like, when he was looking at like that, like, I will say, like, with Mars and all that, there was a part, like, one of the panels, he really did remind me, and maybe it just helps and all that his hair looks kind of almost the same. He hasn't got that little flick and all that. He really does remind me of Barn a little bit from like Seven Deadly Sins, although I prefer Barn way over and all that. Like, it definitely kind of like some of the panels, I was like, oh, like, I actually kind of see it, like, he looks a little bit like Barn now, like, or something like that. Maybe there might be a little bit change to his design and all that, or maybe because he isn't as cold as he used to be and all that. But we'll have to wait and see and all that. But overall, what do you think about this chapter? I definitely enjoyed it and all that for the most part and all that, and I'm kind of happy we kind of concluded this arc from what it seems like and all that. But let's see what's going to be happening in chapter 94. That is all from me, though, so thank you as always for watching and all that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll see you guys, though, next time.